guys, today we will be talking about the different types of events at OCS. When we're looking at events at OCS, we ask ourselves 3 questions. 1, is there a clearly defined scoring system that will determine whether you pass or fail? 2, can you be pulled from the event? And if so, what can you be pulled for? 3, can you roll for this event? Now, some of these events are pullable but not rollable. Some of these events are rollable but you're not going to get pulled. And some of these events are not pullable, not rollable, don't have a scoring system, but you still have to get through them in order to finish OCS. We're just going to go through each of the major events at OCS, starting with this video on the events during INDOC phase. It will be a little long if I try to go through each of the phases of training and each of the events in each phase. So I'm just going to do INDOC phase today, but there will be more videos that talk specifically about the events at OCS in each phase. So without further ado, this is all of the events that happen during INDOC phase at OCS. The very first event at Navy OCS is the initial strength test, or the IST. The IST consists of 3 major parts. You have to do an ab portion, which when I went was curl-ups, but now it's a plank. You have to do push-ups. The number of push-ups that you have to do in 2 minutes will vary depending on your gender and your age. And you can look up the Navy PRT standards just by Googling them. You also have to do a 1.5 mile run. The amount of time that you have to complete the run also depends on your age and your gender. So there are very clearly defined metrics determining whether you will pass or fail. This event is not something that you will get pulled from, although some people will quit. You'll get a lot of drop-on requests during this event because it's the first one, and some people realize that the Navy is just not for them. So you will not get pulled for this event, but if you don't pass it, you'll get one more chance to do it, and if you don't pass it then, you'll roll. The next major event that you will face at Navy OCS is First Friday. First Friday is when you meet your class team. It includes your drill instructors, your RDCs, and your class officers. This event does not have a clearly defined scoring system, but it is a pullable event and it is a rollable event, meaning a drill instructor or a chief might see you struggling or might see you not pushing hard enough, which they term sandbagging, and they will pull you from the event. There is no makeup for it, you just straight roll for that. The event includes a lot of physical activity, a lot of running around, and most notably at the end of it, you will get a speech from your drill instructor explaining who they are, what their expectations are of you, and what your rights and responsibilities are as one of their drill students. After you get through First Friday, you will go and have breakfast, and then you will go and have one of your first classes. It's either going to be a Navy Customs and Cultures class, or it's going to be a class with your class officers where they are going to teach you about mental toughness and things of that nature. After that, you will have your first drill session. Your first drill session is not a marked event, it is not a pullable event, it is not a rollable event. You are going to experience all kinds of enjoyable after effects like soreness and needing to ice your legs and your arms and your abs and everything else. So be prepared for that first drill session to end just the best way possible. After a night of sleeping on tired arms and tired legs and tired abs, you get to wake up and do the next event, which is known as a tour of training country, or the way that the students called it, Sucky Saturday. Sucky Saturday is a tour of training country, but it involves a lot of physical activity, a lot of running, a lot of difficulty breathing. It is not a scored event. It is not a pullable event, and it is not a rollable event. They will slow down so that you can get through it, and they will make sure everyone stays together. The only way that you will not complete this event is if you quit, which is a drop-on request or a DOR, or if you get severely injured. Once you've made it through First Friday and Sucky Saturday, you will go to the pool, and that is your next big event. When you go to the pool, it is not a scored event. There's not really a metric for it. There's a possibility that you'll get pulled, but there is not a possibility that you will get rolled. The only way that you will not finish OCS with this qualification is if you flat out refuse to do it. So if you don't pass it, you will, instead of going to PT in the mornings a couple of times a week, you will go to the pool and they will teach you how to swim and how to pass this swim qual. If you want to know a lot of details about it, I have an entire video dedicated to the Navy swim qual, and you can look at that there. But this event is probably one of the lowest stress inducing events out of all of the events at OCS. After you've completed the swim qual, during your second Friday at OCS, you have an event called Fast Cruise. Fast Cruise involves prepping several items the night before, so that way when you have the door banged on to wake you up, you can run out, grab your sea bag, hold it out in front of you, and then begin stuffing it with the items that they tell you to, item by item. So what'll happen is you'll grab your sea bag, run outside, and they'll say, hold your sea bag up, and you hold your sea bag up. And then they'll tell you to set it on the ground and then go grab your shoes, for example. So you'll go and you'll grab your boots, you run back out, you hold your boots up over your head, and then they say stuff them, and then you stuff your boots, and then they say go grab your shirts. So you go and you grab your shirts, and then you come back out and you hold it over your head, and then they say stuff them, and you stuff it into your sea bag. After your sea bag is fully stuffed, they have you run down to the field, you exercise your heart out. If you don't push hard enough, they'll send you to something called the shark cage, or sometimes it's called the circle of redemption or the square of redemption, and you have to push with more enthusiasm than you've ever pushed with before to try to get back into their good graces, and then you have to maintain that enthusiasm for the rest of the push. Now the push itself is not actually that long. I actually had a great time during Fast Cruise. There are pictures of me smiling, just cheesing it up, running with my sea bag. It was a great event, a lot of fun, and just know that your class team, they've got you. I saw my chief and he said, you guys know what the answers are. You know you only have to do this for a minute. You know you only have to do this for 90 seconds. And you just burpee like hell for that full minute. You burpee like hell for that 90 seconds, whatever it is. And you squat, you do whatever you gotta do. You grab your sea bag, you run back. And when I say you run back, I mean you shuffle quickly back to the hall. And the only thing that you have to do is make sure during this event, it is so crucial, you guys. It is so crucial that you work together, because there are going to be people who are physically slower at this event, people who maybe are a little bit more mentally adept rather than being physically adept. You're going to need these people later on, and they're going to be the ones who are helping you out with the later events that involve a lot of smarts and a lot of studying. So make sure that you don't leave these people behind. If you see a gap forming, make sure you go around them and kind of try to close that gap a little bit, make it look less obvious that there is a gap, because this event, while it is not scored, it is pullable and it is 100% rollable. After you get back to the house, there's going to be a quick flurry of tossing sea bags into rooms, and then there's going to be one last push, and then you run back to your hatch and you're done. And that is Fast Cruise. Now here's the deal. If you roll before Fast Cruise or during Fast Cruise, you will have to redo all of the events leading up to and including Fast Cruise. Wherever you rolled, you start right back at the beginning. However, if you make it through Fast Cruise and the only event you have left is RLP, which is the next event, room, locker, and personnel inspection, then you will not roll back to the beginning. For RLP, you won't roll up until you have completed RLP. So once you have passed Fast Cruise, you don't have to redo First Friday or Sucky Saturday or Fast Cruise unless you get seawalled. So we'll talk about seawalling later, but the next event is something called room, locker, and personnel inspection, and it is the first real beast. Wait, didn't you just say that RLP was the next event? So how would I roll? Well, here's the thing. If you don't pass room, locker, and personnel inspection, which happens on a Thursday, you will have another opportunity to do it the very next Friday morning. After you do it on Friday morning, if you fail that, then you will roll down. You will have to wait 3 weeks from that date to do RLP again, and you will do it in the H company hatch that you're assigned to, and then you will roll up if you pass it. Now, the only other way that you will roll down or stay down between, like after passing Fast Cruise, but before taking RLP, is if you do not attend PT, physical training, morning PT, more than 2 times. So for example, if you have kind of a tight muscle or something and you're thinking, I'm gonna get out of PT for this, be mindful that if all it is maybe a tight muscle, that you might want to just roll it out instead of ditching PT to go to medical, because you never know if you might end up having an actual injury and having to ditch PT 2 other times. So if you ditch PT 3 times, you have to automatically roll. That's the rule while you are in indoctrination phase, and I believe that rule continues all the way through senior officer candidate phase. For candidate officer phase, they have several exceptions because a lot of times people will be standing watches, or they will be taking care of indoctrination candidates, or they will be performing their duties as a road guard or as public affairs officer or whatever it may be. and those duties prevent them from participating in PT. If that's the case, you will not roll for that at all. Assuming that you make it to room, locker, and personnel inspection, this is what's going to happen. You will have some time to study Appendix Bravo. However, if you watched my very first video in this series, which has to do with all the stuff you have to do, all the stuff you have to study, then you should be very well set on your Appendix Bravo. But if not, don't fret, you can cram. You will have to study all of Appendix Bravo, and you will have to be prepared to regurgitate it verbatim to your inspector. In addition to that, you are going to have very carefully folded, delinted, de-threaded items that have to be placed strategically around your hatch. If they are not in the right place, you will get knocked off for that. If you have dust or lint, they call it contraband. If there are threads on your uniform, if you're wearing something incorrectly, if you didn't mark your name down correctly, you will lose points. You need to get an 80 or above to pass. This is a marked event. It is a pullable event. People have been pulled medically from RLP because they have reached their physical limitations. So you can be pulled, and if you are pulled or if you fail, you will roll. So this is a big rollable event. The good news is that if you roll for RLP, you do not have to do Fast Cruise all over again, Sucky Saturday all over again, First Friday all over again. You don't have to do that. So this is the big beast. It involves a lot of memorization, a lot of reciting the stuff that you memorized at the top of your lungs while you are doing very intense physical activity and while your inspector is doing everything they can to make you break your military bearing. So you are scored on your room cleanliness, your organization, your ability to recite knowledge, and your military bearing, and your ability to just keep going. It's only about a 10 to 12 minute push, so just hang in there and do your best. Once you have finished the room, locker, and personnel inspection, you can expect that you will get pinned soon. But before you can have your pinning ceremony, you of course have to pay for it with your blood, sweat, and tears, which involves something known affectionately as the Jock push. This is a semi-official event, and the severity of it depends on how much your drill instructors and RDCs want to murder you. So you will go and do a pretty severe push, and you will be told that you ain't as hot as you think you is, and you will have to run around, do lots of exercises, and then only when you are good and sweaty is when the public affairs officer will come around, take pictures of you getting pinned, looking sweaty as all can be, probably sandy as all can be, but then you are officially no longer an indoctrination candidate. You are now a junior officer candidate, or a Jock. Congratulations. These are all of the events, the major events that happen during INDOC. All right, so thank you guys so much for watching this video. I will be making a part 2 to this, and then a part 3 and a part 4, which will cover each of the events, the major events that happen during OCS. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and if you guys have questions, comments, concerns, feel free to put those also in the comments. Please do not reach out to me in my Instagram DMs. I don't like seeing your penis pictures or your anything pictures. I don't respond to DMs. I like to have all communications out in a public forum right here on YouTube so everybody can see and benefit from all of the comments, questions, concerns, etc., etc., etc. All right, see you guys on the next video. Bye.